Hello and welcome to The Comic Cave. I'm Ramsey, aka Captain Away, and today I'm looking at the 2018 to 2019 series, Exorsisters. This comic is sort of an urban fantasy about two young, identical women running basically a supernatural detective agency where they help people fight off literal demons from hell. But what sets this comic apart from other urban fantasy I've read, other than Giselle Legace's rather manga-like art, is how much writer Ian Boothby plays this story for laughs. This is primarily achieved in the casual interactions between the more goth-attired, calm, sensible sister and the more punk rock-looking, wild, no-filter sister. It's also achieved through their confidence in dealing with demons and the creatures of hell, who are by and large depicted as being fairly inept. Make no mistake, this is definitely not a horror comic. So let's see just how well this crazy pair does at cleaning up hell's messes and take this away. The comic opens with a wedding! Yay! But it looks like this isn't as happy an occasion as you might expect, because it's interrupted by a demon telling the groom that he's there to collect on their bargain. The groom gets dragged to hell, screaming that it's too early. Guess he sold his soul to marry this lady, and hell decided to shorten the contract. Luckily, the priest at the wedding happens to know our heroes, Kate and Kate Harrow. Yeah, that's right, they have the same name. Easy enough to tell them apart when reading, but that's going to get real annoying trying to discuss this comic. C-Kate immediately sets to work to help our heartbroken bride, while K-Kate immediately helps herself to some champagne. I love this moment where K-Kate disappears and reappears with cake. Where did she get it? Well, there was a great big cake on the table over there. Seemed like a shame to let it go to waste. The sisters search the missing man's laptop, oddly enough finding no porn, just a lot of complaints about his boss on some forums he frequented. Which is weird because apparently his only boss was his bride-to-be. Not sure what else to do, the sisters decide to search hell, and conveniently KK can summon doors to hell, even if they're a little small. That's a pretty good gag, honestly. Once in hell, the sisters enlist the aid of a demon who is unable to find the missing groom. Sounds like something else might be going on here. So they call up the bride and ask if she has any real estate in any far out of the way places. Sure enough, she does, and they all three show up to the house to find that our missing man has been hiding out here all along, with a weird demon thing. What's going on here? I'll let K-Kate explain. Haha, K-Kate is the best. Okay, longer answer, the creature feeds off of sorrow, giving wealth to the one who supplies the sorrow. So Glenn here was gaslighting Gloria for bags of money. Ugh, such a guy thing to do. Am I right, ladies? Gloria's sorrow suddenly turns to anger, and all of Glenn's money simply vanishes. She then locks him in the house, where the sorrow sucker feeds off his sadness now instead. Back at their office, the sisters receive an unexpected visitor, their mom. Only it turns out she's not their mom. Just C-Kate's mom, because K-Kate isn't a person, she's C-Kate's soul. Despite the fact that everyone gathered here already knows the story, Kate's mom proceeds to explain to her what happened. I know they want to get this information across to the reader, but it always does bug me when writers don't find a more organic way of working the backstory into the plot than having their characters locked in a long conversation of things they all already know. And this is a long conversation, it's basically the entire second issue. What we learn is that after Papa Bear left, Mama Bear had to find a way to support her daughter, despite never having worked before or finished school. After being rudely laughed out of applying at some fast food restaurant, a mysterious man approaches her with a job selling candles. Only he says they're not selling candles, they're selling opportunity. This is a pyramid scheme, isn't it? Pretty sure this is a pyramid scheme. After Mom makes a wish for some money on one of the candles, deadbeat Dad suddenly shows up to pay all his child support. This turns Mama into a believer, and soon she's the top salesperson at Pyramid Candles Inc., or whatever they're supposed to be called. But then, one lady she sells to makes a wish to kill her wife, and when she calls up her saleswoman to report on that exciting success, she's dragged away by demons over the phone. Mom hears everything and confronts her employers with her newfound knowledge. They respond with her severance package. Severing her soul from her body, that is. But she manages to save herself in the most despicable way, by selling out her own daughter. And here's the really tragic part. Kate saw her mom on the phone with a lady that killed her wife, and so she knew something was wrong. And she was so worried about her mother that while Mama was busy selling her daughter to demons, Kate was busy trying to keep her mind off of what was wrong with her mom by playing the hardest piano piece she knew. Isn't that just heartbreaking? Then, on top of that, When the demons come for Kate, they explain that she still has to agree to come with them, and the way they convince her to sign is by threatening horrible things to her mom. Man, this apple seems to have fallen pretty far from the tree. Wait, maybe I shouldn't be talking about demons and apples. Anyway, growing up, Kate had another self that she became whenever she had to do anything scary, who she named Kate with a K. And so she fell back into that routine for signing the contract, causing the demon to take her soul instead of her whole body. It would be years before Kate realized what happened. Once she did, she would start looking for answers from the occult, causing her to run into this obviously skeevy looking dude, Buzz. Never trust a dude named Buzz. Unless he's an astronaut. Buzz introduces her to his friends that are all also into the occult, and lets her come over to his place to read up more on the subject. Ugh, he lives in a garage? Never trust a dude named Buzz who lives in a garage. He's definitely not an astronaut. Kate's into his book collection, but Buzz is clearly only interested in Kate. After spending some time making out on a pile of demonic books, Buzz brings Kate to a place where they can do a, as he puts it, infernal summoning, to get her some of the answers she's looking for, which they're going to do in a meat locker, because it's good to have a door that locks from the outside. Not suspicious at all. The group drugs Kate, and when she wakes up, she's tied up inside the meat locker and being sacrificed to a demon. But when demon Beelzebub shows up, he's disappointed to learn his sacrifice has already lost her soul. Should've listened to your girlfriend better there, Buzz. So Kate makes a deal with Beelzebub. He sets her free, and she locks away her demon cult ex-friends with him, so he can feast on their souls instead. Buzz isn't killed, but instead turned into the most children's cartoon-looking fly that ever existed and sentenced into eternal service for Beel. But as our story unfolds, he comes in search of Kate because something, he says, killed his master Beezy. Something he calls the First Darkness. Kate and Kate don't believe him at first, but something is clearly happening as right then angels start falling from the sky. The Kate too go looking for the angels, but they've vanished and instead run across a man who sold his soul to the devil. Or a guy in a bad devil's Halloween costume at least. Turns out this is one of the angels, the only one to not perish when he fell to earth, due to landing in the trash bin. But he lost one of his feathers and can't return to heaven incomplete, so he disguised himself in an ironic Halloween costume, and in order to keep up the disguise, went ahead and accepted the man's deal. Just made sure that whenever he did evil, something good came out of it as a result. The angel confirms that they're dealing with the thing Buzz warned them about, though he calls it the First Shadow. It has already surrounded heaven, which cut the angels off from heaven and caused them to fall, and we soon see that it also filled up hell. When the girls attempt to open another door to hell, more properly sized this time, the darkness floods their office. When the office clears out a bit, the angel Gabriel meets back up with them to explain what they're dealing with. When the creator said, "Let there be light," there was, but the light caused the creator to cast a shadow. That shadow then gained sentience and an infinitesimal portion of the creator's powers, which, as Gabe explains, is still infinite. Okay, Kate, you kill me. The shadow, possessing the idiot thief from earlier, then confronts them. However, it can't kill them because their mom made a deal with it to help the shadow if her daughter stays safe. Kate warns her that she doesn't know what she's doing, and she replies that she's just trying to protect her daughter, which is all she ever wanted. Right. Says the mom who literally sold her daughter to demons? So the darkness instead banishes the girls to heaven, and sadly, that's where the comic ends. Of course, it only ended earlier this year, so there could be more in the future. But for now, let's drop into Shadow and get to the breakdown. This comic is an absolute blast. I love the story, the whimsical nature of it, and the great sense of humor. I love how take charge and confident both girls are. I especially love KK and all her little quirks, like how she's always eating, even if it's a burger she found in a garbage can. Or how she doesn't really seem to care about anything other than her sister and her pet Calcifer, whom she calls Fish. Fish almost perishes when their office is flooded by the darkness, and it's literally the only time we see KK freak out. But why does she even have a pet Calcifer? That's something I would like a future series to answer, along with some of the background on how Kate actually managed to get her soul out of hell. I'd also like to mention that I love the art. While it's a bit more on the manga side than I prefer, it fits perfectly with this story, and is especially great at capturing the girl's attitudes and emotions, and that's something I really value in an artist. So, I'm giving this series a recommendation level of high. It will definitely be disappointing to people who want a whole story, but it's still a great series and a lot of fun. Thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you've been enjoying me covering all indie comics this month. We're almost to the end of August with just one more comic to go. I'll give you a hint, it's kinda related to this comic in theme, and it's kind of also not really technically an indie comic. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll see what I mean if you stick around next time. Hope to see you then, right here in the Comic Cave.